Hello and welcome to this special radio town hall meeting against corruption by the Progressive Impact Organization for Community Development, PRIMORG. I am Adaobi Obiabumo, the program manager at PRIMORG. PRIMORG is a civil society group with a mandate to promote good governance, participation, and accountability in Nigeria. This town hall meeting against corruption is supported by the MacArthur Foundation. Today's town hall meeting features residents of the Niger Delta region who have first-hand information of the wrath in the region following the colossal abandonment of projects in the region. This radio town hall meeting is a follow-up of the report by Premium Times, one of our media partners, on the massive abandonment of projects in the Niger Delta by successive governments and NDDC in particular. Akintunde Babatunde of Premium Times told us on our radio program Public Conscience that NDDC has received the sum of 2.16 trillion naira in the past 18 years of its existence. Diolu of Warri, Ogiame Ikenwole the First, will also speak during this program. We also have representatives of civil society organizations and the media. Mr. Darlington Wauju came in from Rivers State, while Mr. Umakpo Oviemone came in from Delta State. We will also get the input of community leaders from the Niger Delta through the phone to share their experiences with us. I welcome you all to today's deliberation. Those listening on radio should get ready to join us when we open the phone. And those watching us live on our Facebook page at Official PRIMORG can also drop messages for us. You can also drop a message now on 0902-265-6167. That is 0902-265-6167. Let me introduce the moderator of today's town hall meeting. He is a man with vast knowledge of the Niger Delta region, a journalist, a thoroughbred professional. He is the producer and anchor of Inside the Niger Delta, Felix Mamude Hakuga. Interestingly, he is the son of the soil from Delta State, though he resides in Port Harcourt, the River State capital. We are glad to have you moderate this radio town hall meeting against corruption. Let me leave the stage for our able moderator, Felix Mamude Hakuga.
Thank you so much, and welcome once again to today's town hall meeting. Today, every well-meaning Nigerian is disturbed with the chronicles of mismanagement and financial impropriety leading to abandoned and uncompleted projects across the Niger Delta region. The Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, an idea conceived to speed up the development of the oil-producing region of the country, has been in the news recently for very negative reasons. The dreams and philosophy of the Niger Delta transforming into Dubai with NDDC has become some sort of a mirage. The NDDC has received, 2.16 trillion, that is from federal allocation, but they also have other sources where money comes in. For instance, 3% of the budget of all oil companies operating in the country. So if you add all the different sources of income to at NDDC, they've received about 5 trillion naira, as confirmed recently by the Honorable Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Godswill Akpabio. And in about 20 years of its existence, the Niger Delta Commission so far executed, or awarded as it were, about 18,000 projects. 12,000 of those projects have been abandoned or not executed at all. Well, the NDDC covers the following states: Bayelsa, Rivers, Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Edo, Delta, Ondo, Imo, and Abia. That's a total of 9 states, which are all oil-producing states. Now, we're going to have our first intervention on the program today, and we'll be talking first to Mr. Darlington Wauju, who is from River State. Darlington, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Okay.
I want to say that...
yes, I was just going to say, okay. Tell us your experience from River State, the level of abandoned projects at NDDC projects in Rivers.
Now, I want to quickly say that historically, we've not, where we find ourselves, we've not been able to crawl out of the hole of abandoned projects. And this has a historical perspective to it. If you look at the setting up of an agency in 1961, pursuant to Section 14 of the 1960 Constitution, the NDDB was set up, that's the Niger Delta Development Board, which had 1.5% allocation to it. And that particular body or agency could only act as, an advisory body. It had no executory powers. And so, following up with that, in 1976, the federal government set up 10 different development commissions or bodies in the country, with which the NDDB was now metamorphosed into the Niger Delta Development Board Authority. That authority could not do much. It only succeeded in setting up few rice factories in where we now call Ogbia local government area in present-day Bayelsa State. That's way back 1976. And the story has been the same even when we now had the UNPADEC. There was also before then a presidential monitoring committee, yes, which had executory powers and was given the mandate to go develop the region. It was the same sad tales. That particular agency abandoned over 1,100 projects out of the 1,338 projects that it claimed it embarked upon. This particular presidential committee gave birth to the UNPADEC, and the story of the UNPADEC is even worse, more calamitous than the presidential committee. The UNPADEC had over 2,000 projects, out of which just 200 projects, that is 14.95% of the total number of projects it embarked upon, was completed. And the UNPADEC now gave birth to the NDDC. And so that was why I said that we've not been able to crawl out of the hole of abandoned projects in the Niger Delta.
Okay, Darlington, before we go to Ovi from Delta, the NDDC is headquartered in Port Harcourt.
Exactly.
And a lot of people feel that because of that strategic nature and the advantage of having the headquarters, Rivers State appears to be the state that has the highest number of completed projects in projects executed by NDDC. But in spite of that, tell us a little bit about projects in Rivers State and how abandoned are they?
In fact, what signposts the level of abandonment of projects is the abandoned or the ongoing headquarters building of the NDDC itself.
Which is in Port Harcourt.
That project, which is in Port Harcourt, signposts the abandonment that we've experienced over the years.
It's been 23 years now since it was first awarded.
Exactly. And few weeks ago, in fact, in the month of on June 12th this year, Mr. President gave during his Democracy Day speech actually promised that project will soon be commissioned. But we are more than 2 months after that particular presidential broadcast. Nothing has happened. Rather, we only saw a committee. In fact, during the House of Reps public hearing on the malfeasance in the NDDC, my organization, which I represent, made presentations to the National Assembly, and part of the complaints we made, and we brought pictorial evidences of abandoned projects.
Okay.
So these have been a teething problem in the Niger Delta. The issue of abandoned projects, the issue of wastages, the issue of complete and scandalous malfeasance that is going on there.
All right, let us move over to Ovie now, who's from Delta State. But to also add to what Darlington said about the NDDC headquarters, the president did make reference to that. After the president broadcast, the Ministry of Niger Delta said they were directed the NDDC to work on it. So I personally visited the NDDC headquarters, where I saw that some work was going on. Maybe, just maybe, President Buhari will be able to commission it. We hope so. Let's go to Delta State now. where the headquarters of NDDC is not cited. It's one of those other states where a lot of people say that the projects abandoned in Delta State are too many. Ovie, you are from Isoko, that is Isoko North and South. Tell us your immediate experience. I know you have gone around to inspect NDDC projects severally. And on one occasion, I think I was in the same inspection tour with you. So tell me, what's your experience of abandoned projects in Delta?
It is still the same sad situation. Like Darlington has rightly said, the NDDC headquarters and other zonal offices signpost the true nature or picture of the organization called NDDC. In Isoko, where I come from Isoko North, from Marade, where I come from, to Uzeri, to Olomoro, to Ibide, to Emevo, to Ole, it is seemed the same tale of abandoned projects. For instance, the other day, we undertook a tour of the Emevo Orogun Road, a road that was awarded since over 10 years ago by NDDC at an initial cost of about 3.something billion. As of today, even with the variation, the project has even gone up more than what the initial cost of award. It was splitted into 4 lots by the politician or the legislators who are contractors to NDDC, because they know by law they cannot on their own at the level of NDDC board award such contract to themselves. So what they do, they split the contract into 4 lots: lot 1, lot 2, lot 3, lot 4. And it's a project that covers the Isoko and the Orobo end of Delta State, 2 senatorial districts. A project of that nature ought to have been executed by now, because it is the only road that connects the Isoko people from Emevo down to Orogu, where the deputy senate president comes from. It is sad and it's unfortunate. Then you now talk of the Uzere Patani Road. If you are to connect Isoko, for ease of movement, you can connect Isoko through Patani using that road. But unfortunately, since 2006, that the road was awarded and re-awarded in 2009, till today, it is still the same sad situation. It is not even up to 30% completed.
Now, let us, during my visit and tour, I noticed something in one of those NDDC projects in Delta State. And this is the Erowa Health Center. Because it's not just enough to continue to blame NDDC. I got to that place. In fact, we had to first do clearing so that we can, because it's been surrounded by, heavy grasses and all that. But on getting to the project site, a cottage hospital, it was completed, including, a mortuary, doctor's quarters, all the nurses' quarters, everything. But in spite of the fact it has been completed, it was just abandoned. At that point, will it not be right to place the blame on the people in the area not taking advantage of that kind of project?
No, sir. It is an NDDC project. A project that has been completed up to 80%. What is left for NDDC to do is just to equip the place. Equip it and put it to use. But you were there the other time. It has been overtaken by weight. The people on their own cannot equip it. The people on their own cannot just move into government facility when it is not handed over to them. So that is the situation. And that project, that cottage hospital, was supposed to, help in ameliorating the sufferings, the sufferings of people within the environment, the Patani people, the Anabezi, the people of Abari, and other neighboring communities. But unfortunately today, the situation is the same.
It's unfortunate. It's very, very unfortunate. The story of abandoned projects in the Niger Delta, most times they sound unbelievable, but I can assure you they're very true. That a hospital will have been completed just to equip and use, and then the place is abandoned completely to be taken over by weeds. In some cases as well, some of those contracts are so shoddily executed that you begin to wonder whether there's any kind of quality control at NDDC at all. One of those projects is in cocoa, where a shoreline protection project was also executed. Now, this project was given to a legislator at that time, and eventually the project was shoddily executed. The people of the area are still being threatened by the river from cocoa there, taking over their land. And the Olu of Warri, His Royal Majesty Ogiame Ikenwole I, just yesterday went to Koko to personally inspect the project. His Royal Majesty confirmed that the project was, awarded to a current sitting governor in Nigeria. And after taking a look at that project, this was the reaction of Ogiame Ikenwole I, the Olu of Warri.
This is no job at all. I feel bad that such a job, shoddy job, is done in my community. You see, so about some time ago now, they decided that cocoa is a very special community in our kingdom. There's a Nigerian Port Authority here, and there's a World Class Museum here, Nana Palace. So everybody comes here from all over the world. So because of the strategic location of the community, and this is the only road leading to the community, that was why they said, okay, let them do a shoreline protection to protect the community and the roads. But this cannot stand this test of time. No, cannot. I've seen shoreline protection all over the place, but I've never seen anyone like this. So this job should be terminated, and a good contractor should be gotten to come and do a good job for us. That's just the solution. Or they should let the contractor know that this job is unacceptable. They should do really good job for us, so that to protect the community and protect the only road coming to this place. That's the bottom line. So please tell Mr. President, we appreciate him, we thank him for this job, but this is unacceptable to me and my people. Thank you very much.
His Royal Majesty Ogiame Ikenwole I, the Olu of Warri, very, very clear there that he and his people will not accept that shoddy job, shoreline protection in cocoa, awarded by the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC. And they have called on President Muhammadu Buhari to issue the appropriate directives to NDDC to terminate that road project, that shoreline project, and re-award it to a contractor that can do a better job for them. Well, we want to go to Bayelsa State now to talk to one of the activists, community activists in Delta State, in Bayelsa State, to find out the situation of NDDC abandoned projects in the state. We have on the line joining us now Mr. Orubo. Orubo, welcome to the program.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Tell us about some of the abandoned projects, NDDC projects in your state, Bayelsa.
Yeah. Yes, there is a law, in fact, in Igua and within the state, being littered with NDDC abandoned projects. That some of them have been abandoned for more than 12 years. Some, as I speak to you now, some of them, like the one in my community, Okwabage, the shoreline protection that was awarded the
we seem to be having some communication problems there. The line not very clear, but he was going to tell us about the project in Otuabage. It's a shoreline protection project. There are so many shoreline protection projects NDDC awarded across the Niger Delta for strategic reasons, because no matter the development, it is a necessity in the Niger Delta, because no matter the projects you put in some of these communities, which are just coastal communities by the river, they will wash up. So shoreline, very important. I'm told we have Rugbo back on the line now. Rugbo.
Okay. So
telling us about the shoreline protection project in your community, Otuabagi.
Yes. The shoreline protection, now the contractor has resumed work. He has worked like 20%, though he has gone for break because of the rainy season. He promised that he will be coming back November ending to resume work.
When was the project awarded to him?
2013.
So for 7 years, all that has been achieved is 20%.
It's 20%, but he even started it this year. It was this year they started it. Because of
was it as a result of the talk of forensic audit and then the probe at the National Assembly that the contractor came back to site?
I guess the probe and the forensic audit too goes a long way. Yeah, I guess so. But even the community too try their best. The community leaders try their best.
What do you mean by they tried their best? What action did they take?
They call on the contractor. Luckily, they know the contractor. They call on the contractor. They now go to the NDDC. They do some petitions through the EFCC, through the what they call this other agency. So with those petitions, the contractor now came and mobilized the site.
That particular project, I do have some information about it too. I am told that project was awarded to a former member of the House of Representatives from Rivers State. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Orubo, giving us just some perspectives from Bayelsa State. So we see that the situation across the Niger Delta is the same. You must have heard during the serious probes that went on at the National Assembly. And there was also talk of some legislators who were involved in, some of the projects in NDDC. Just on this program alone now, we can tell you that the shoreline protection project in Koko, which the Olu of Warri and his people have rejected, was awarded to a legislator at that time, a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who incidentally, as we speak, is a sitting governor. Also, the one in Bayelsa, again awarded to a member of the House of Representatives from Bayelsa State. After, EFCC, ICPC intervention, the contractor has gone back to site. But after 7 years, 20% completed. That is very, very, very appalling to speak. We are still going to be able to talk to some persons. Hopefully, we should be able to get a reaction from Akwa Ibom State, which is another major oil producing state, and be able to get a reaction there from what the abandoned projects look like in Rivers State. But let me come back to Darlington very quickly. Darlington, this situation of abandoned projects, the president has asked for a forensic audit. By the time the audit comes out, a lot of this information will be out there. What should be the next step once we identify those who are the contractors who abandoned their projects?
I think that the agitations for an audit of the NDDC is long overdue, given the fact that for the first time in history.
Okay. I think that Barrister Ochoro is on the line. So, Darlington, I'll come back to you shortly. Barrister Ochoro, welcome to the program. It was to tell us about the level of abandoned projects there. But let me come back to Darlington again. Some of these people, once we identify them after the forensic audit, what next? Should they be asked to go back to site, or we should be thinking of prosecuting some of these contractors?
I think I do not believe that just merely asking them to go back to site will be a disservice to the peoples of the Niger Delta, because the people have suffered plenty, not just degradation in the environment. Most of the time, people who are trying to analyze Niger Delta issues are persons who are actually ignorant of the environmental devastation and degradation
in the area. Okay, Darlington, I'm sorry, I have to interject one more time. Barrister Otero is on the line now. Barrister Otero, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Okay, please tell us about the level of abandoned projects in Akwa Ibom, citing your community, for instance, as an example.
Well, I may not be very correct in telling you the level, but I know the level of abandoned project in Akwa Ibom State is massive, enormous. So that is how I could put it.
Okay. Well, I understand your inability to get exact statistics, but massive represents the fact that there are so many abandoned projects in Akwa Ibom, and that is unfortunate.
Well.
But tell us about your community. You must have at least a project, NDDC project in your community. What's the situation of that project?
Very good. Now, thank you very much for the question. We had the fortune, I would say so, but the fortune later turned around to be misfortune. At first, the road to my village from East-West Road, from a place called Umume in Ruku, local government area. The road is impassable, especially during rainy season. The community is hilly. When you are going in, you descend from a hill. Before you go into the village, you climb a hill. And so on, before you get to the next village, which is Oruko, you must have descended and ascended at least 6 hills. So now, into some time, a long time before 2013, NDDC gave a project, road construction for 90 million for that road to be constructed 1 kilometer from that East-West Road. Now, on 13 September 2013 precisely, the company the contract was given to, they call it Trailblazer Engineering, came to my village, and in a very colorful ceremony, the people who were anxious to see the route constructed came out en masse. Even a bishop of a church located in that village was there to consecrate that project. So the project site was handed over by the clan head of the community, His Royal Highness Ofron Efi Omachinanawo, to the then assistant director in NDDC Zonal Office in Uyo, Engineer Etem Eyoite. He handed over to him on behalf of NDDC, and he himself later handed over to the contractor. So there was hope, very high hope, that the road was going to be done, because they said they were going to do 1 kilometer. But when they came and inspected,
7 years after, what is the story? Is the road done now, and or some part of it has been done?
I was coming with the story. So that ceremony was the end of anything happening to the road. Now, subsequently, another contract was given, 2.6 billion, for the road to be constructed from somewhere in Okobo local government. They went from the East-West Road into our community through this village Ubororo to Mbu. Was going to be 9 kilometers spur. So that section was called section A of the project. Now, the contractor claimed he started the project from section B, which was somewhere in Okobo local government. So we went to that site last Monday and saw it. What they did at most was about one pole, the distance between 2 poles. So now, and even then, they didn't tar the whole route. Some portion, they just divide the route into 2 and tar one portion. So now they have done that was what he heard about it, and we thought they were coming back to do the project. Now, I personally went to
Yes, Barrister Otero, we don't have much time left on the program. We want to, at least you have given us an idea of what the situation is in Akwa Ibom. Thank you so much for your intervention.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay.
All right, we can see and hear from what Barrister Otero said that one of the projects NDDC awarded in his community, it started with the fanfare welcoming the contractor, and it ended with that. In other words, nothing has happened on that project in the last 7 years. In NDDC contract terms, that will be referred to as a kola nut job. So let me get back to Darlington again. Darlington, we were really talking about what to do with some of these contractors. Do we beg them to go back to site, or after the forensic audit, some of these people need to be prosecuted?
I think that not prosecuting them will amount to a disservice to the people of the region and to the nation, and also to the anti-corruption fight of the present administration. I say so because if you look down history from 1961 till date, from the NDDB to NDDC, you would agree with me that the NDDC has had the highest volume of support from the federal government of Nigeria, coupled with the plenty of political will and the finances that are coming to that agency. The 15% that comes as statutory, which is total of the statutory allocation that comes to each of the member states of the commission, that is paid by the federal government. The 3% from oil companies, yes, onshore and offshore, including gas processing companies. The 50% of the total ecological funds that comes to each of the member states of the commission all comes to the NDDC. And so the people of the region deserve to know what has been done over these years with this huge volume of funds.
Okay.
And so slapping anybody on the wrist or patting anybody on the back
will not be doing justice.
Completed will amount to a great disservice to the people.
In other words, what Darlington is saying that we should look at the possibility of prosecuting some of these NDDC defaulting contractors who took kola nut jobs from the NDDC. But what is the civil society going to do about all this? We have joining us on the phone now, co-convener of Say No campaign, Ezenwa Wagu, who's of course a top civil society person. Ezenwa, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Good morning. Nice being with you this morning.
Thank you so much. So how do we handle this issue of abandoned projects at the NDDC?
Yeah, I think we need to first rethink the ideological constructs on which the NDDC stands. In my view, it appears to me that many people conceive that agency as a vehicle for patronage and cronyism, to dispense patronage and cronyism. Otherwise, for a sensitive agency and for a sensitive environment like the Niger Delta, we shouldn't be talking about issues of abandoned projects. And even when you talk about these projects, what are those projects? You've been doing extensive work in that environment for a very long time. I don't know if you can find any hospital, built, completed, equipped, staffed by the NDDC.
I don't think we have anyone at the moment. It's so unfortunate. But do you support the fact that we shouldn't just, gloss over this and maybe slap, the contractors on the wrist by just saying, please go back to work? How do we discourage this in the future? Is it by ensuring that we prosecute some of these contractors, which may lead to some of them ending up in prison? Who knows?
the way we can discourage it is, first and foremost, if we understand that this agency exists for the good of the people of the Niger Delta, then the people of the Niger Delta must own the projects. We have to have a community approach. The communities have to take ownership of projects that are cited in their environment. If, for instance, there is let's say a project that is cited in a community, if the people of that community take ownership, they can call back the contractors. It's not rocket science. There is a community within the FCT that we have worked with, and they worked with the relevant authorities and got a contractor who abandoned the project in Abaji local government to return from the United States of America and come and complete the project. When community people feel aloofness, a sense of aloofness, they do not think that they own these projects, then even if you say you punish the contractors, you do all of that, we must get first and foremost the communities involved.
All right, Zenwa, thank you so much. I get your main point. The communities must be involved. Thank you so much for your time. I mean, we have seen one example of community involvement on this program today from Bayelsa, where they went to EFCC and all that, and that forced the contractor back to site. Some of these projects we are talking about are projects that are supposed to provide basic necessities for the people of the Niger Delta. For instance, like water. A state like Bayelsa surrounded by water, no water to drink. It will interest you to know that in 2003, as a reporter with AIT, I went to cover a commissioning project for water in central Yenagoa, the APA area. It was supposed to be a 2 million liter water project. I visited that project last month, and so sad to find out that since 2003, when Governor DSP Alamiseya, the late DSP Alamiseya, commissioned the project, I was there. I covered it for AIT. I was there again last month. Unfortunately, not a single drop of water had come out of that NDDC project. So that is how sad the situation is. But those of you who are listening to us, you can call in now so that we can quickly take your comments on this matter before we close this town hall meeting. All right, the numbers to reach us, 0818-4270-287 or 0818-4270-265. You can call quickly so that we can take your comments on this all-important matter concerning the people of the Niger Delta. But while we're waiting, if any call comes in, maybe we'll go back to OVA to tell us his own idea. We have heard Darlington say that we must prosecute them. Ezenwa has said that community must be involved. What would be your take on correcting this anomaly?
Yes, I align with Darlington. They should be prosecuted. Then also, the community need to take ownership as well. But there are some briefcase contractors. There are some contractors who are legislators, who are contractors, who just go there, come for the fanfare of it, after which they disappear. You will not see them again. In the case of Emevo Orogu Road, we were together with the President General the other day, where he narrated how he has been following up with that project from the beginning to date. Today, it is one story of contractor A, within another 2 months or 3 months, another man will show as a contractor to the same project. So, their project is shrouded with so much secrecy, with so much ambiguity that you cannot actually know
who and who. Yeah, yes, I recall that project very well, and the fact that we had to talk to about 3 or 4 different people. Somebody claimed to be a financer, somebody claimed to be a facilitator, somebody claimed to be the contractor, and somebody claimed to be the liaison man between NDDC and the community and the contractor. So terrible. But let us hear from the streets now and listen to some of the voices on the streets. I think we have someone online right now. Before we go to the streets, let's quickly take someone. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, please tell us very quickly your reaction to all this about abandoned projects in the Niger Delta.
My name is Young Ben Steven. Okay.
Go ahead. What is your reaction to the abandoned projects? I think we lost that call already. But I'm very sure that caller was calling from Akwa Ibom. If I'm able to identify correctly that accent, I'm sure he was calling from Akwa Ibom State. But unfortunately, we lost that call. So let's go to the streets now and listen to voices on the streets.
Masses are angry. They are angry because of the situation of things in the country.
Okay, this administration is just a scam when it comes to fighting of corruption.
In Nigeria, I don't think they see corruption as something that is illegal in the country. Corruption now in Nigeria is becoming legalized.
Voices against corruption. Let the people speak.
Hello and welcome to PRIMORG's public feedback series on corruption. And we ask,
do you think those who have been accused of massive frauds in NDDC will ever be brought to book?
Bringing them to book is one thing, but getting the truth is a whole lot of things. The problem of Nigeria is a very big problem, a huge problem that the entire nation needs to be sorry about. A lot of things have been happening in this country, not only NDDC alone. People who defraud this country to start with, they have never been brought to book for once. So I think NDDC will not be an exception.
They cannot be brought to book because the leaders, the people who are supposed to bring them to book, cannot bring them to book because they are also corrupt.
It depends on our institutions. If our institutions are working, why wouldn't they be brought to book?
Niger Delta Commission. What have they done there? Are they not part of his people? What did he do? Not
if the NDDC officials are indicted for corruption, they're supposed to be tried, brought to book. If there is any need for jail, they should jail them.
All right, from Voices on the Streets, we go to calls now. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, tell us your name and then reaction to the issue of abandoned projects.
My name is Frank Tietie. And I'm calling from Abuja and a proud Niger Delta.
Great. So what's your reaction to, abandoned projects across the region?
First and foremost, we must not forget that not all the emphasis should be put on the contractors that failed to do their work or the contractors that took money and ran away, including the ones in the National Assembly and the one who is currently a sitting governor. We should also remember that all of these injustice has been done to the people of the Niger Delta because of colluding forces.
Frank, are you there? Wow, we lost Frank, but he was making a very, very important point that it's not just about the contractors alone, and it's not just, taking a look at that aspect that if we didn't have colluding forces at the NDDC, I think we have, is that Frank back on the line now?
Yes, yes. So thank you very much. Thank you. So for the want of time, let us remember that there has been a regime of criminal conspiracy, criminal negligence, and the collusion at the highest level within the people, among the people of the Niger Delta against the people, against their own people, the people of the Niger Delta who also run the NDDC. So we shouldn't even wait for the end of the forensic audit before we begin to look back at the 20 years of the NDDC and now begin to arrest those public officials who did not bring to the attention of government such kind of neglect of contracts that have been awarded. So what we have become the enemies of ourselves in the Niger Delta. The government must move swiftly to calling those officials of the NDDC in the last 20 years to begin to write their reports so that we can know what is going on. Thank you very much.
So much, Frank. Frank's perspective, of course, very, very key in all this, because the people who award those contracts are inside the commission. And if they refuse to play ball, it will be very difficult for contractors to get away with, the malfeasance that we have witnessed with projects across the Niger Delta. Well, I don't know if we'll still be able to take one or two calls, but let us quickly go back to our guests from Delta and River State who are with us in the studios to give us, their closing remarks on this matter. Let us begin with Darlington.
Okay, I quickly want to say that by way of footnoting what Frank Tete just said, we need to look at a situation whereby the development model, the approach to the development of the Niger Delta region must change, because presently, and what we've had over the years has been an elitist approach to development, a top-to-bottom approach, where people sit in the comfort of their AC offices and write a development plan on behalf of the people. Now, if that changes, if we have a paradigm shift from this model of development to a situation where communities will be, I think Mr. Ezenwanwa tried mentioning it, where communities will, from the local governments, local communities, design projects that have direct bearing on the lives of the people of the region, and then submit it to the NDDC and the federal government for the development of the region. This is one sure way of helping, develop the region. Because what we currently have, if we continue like this, I fear for the Niger Delta region.
Well, thank you very much. A very, very important point, because a lot of people sit in the NDDC office in Port Harcourt and just decide what projects should go to the communities without even the communities themselves saying this is what we want. And that results to what has been described as project duplication in the Niger Delta. So you have some communities where the state government is building a water project, the federal government through international agencies are building a water project. NDDC is also coming to build a water project as well in that community. Ovie, let us have your closing remarks on this matter.
I think we need to actually hold our people accountable. The legislators who are contractors, our people who are staff of NDDC, who are living beyond their income, because they are the colluding forces that Frank referred to. If they don't support the corruption from the political leaders that are appointed into NDDC, it will not thrive. So we must learn to hold them accountable.
When you say they are living above their income, is that visible for people to see? These are civil servants, as it were, working in a government agency.
Very visible, sir. Very visible. The other day at the National Assembly, you heard them say that they use 1.3 million naira to take care of themselves. Billion to take care of themselves. When the people are suffering. So I think at this point we need to hold our people accountable. The legislators who, after inciting project into NDDC budget, they see demand for money before these budgets are passed. I have had an experience discussing with one of the previous board member who shared his experience with me that a former senior committee on NDDC asking for about 4 billion cash before their budget will be passed. So the whole web of corruption, in NDDC, it is not only limited to only the board members, the legislators, the staff of NDDC, and even our own contractors, our own people who are contractors, they are also responsible for the rot in NDDC.
Without a doubt, our own people are involved, and quite a lot of them too. There's really no exclusion. We heard the other day where the executive director of projects at NDDC says that if they were to release the names of NDDC contractors, the country will break. Nigeria will not break, but I think it was using the figure of speech on Amatopia, trying to let us know the gravity by the use of exaggeration. So, but a lot of the names, as Nigerians say, will shock you, when we see those people who have been involved in the sleaze at NDDC. Well, it is time for us to bring this town hall meeting to a close. We've had several contributions from different parts of the Niger Delta, and the story has all been the same. There is no particular place, even in Rivers State, Port Harcourt, where of course NDDC is headquartered, that should have had some level of advantage, does not even seem to have any advantage at all. So it is all over Niger Delta, a sad story of projects abandonment. Well, at this point in time, we would like to hand over now to our moderator, PRIMORG's program manager, Adaobi Obiabumo. Okay. Well, my name is Mahmoud Felix Akuga. Thank you so much for the privilege.
Thank you so much, Felix Mahmoud Akuga, for a wonderful moderation. From River State to Delta, then to Bayelsa and Akwa Ibom. The story seems to be the same, talking about the level of abandoned NDDC projects in the Niger Delta region. And we have come to the end of this special radio town hall meeting against corruption in the Niger Delta region. We appreciate Darlington Nwaubu and Omoakpo Ovremuno, who joined us all the way from the oil-rich Niger Delta region to share their stories with us. We also thank our guests in the Niger Delta region who participated through phone. We want to also appreciate Ezenwanwago of Say No campaign. He is part of PRIMORG and always ready to enrich our programs. We also appreciate all our other guests from different civil society organizations, talking about Reboot, NDI, Form 1, Say No campaign, JDPC, and the media. We appreciate all of you for being part of this program. If you have a message for us or you want to react to what you heard on this program, please reach us through 0902-265-6167. That is 0902-265-6167, or through info@primorg.com, at primorg.org, info@primorg.org. Please visit the news page of our website, news.primorg.org. That is news.primorg.org. For all the details of our reports and interviews, visit our website, primorg.org, to get all the information about PRIMORG. PRIMORG is spelled PRIMORG. PRIMORG. PRIMORG's radio town hall meeting against corruption is supported by the John T. and Catherine V. MacArthur Foundation, committed to building a more just, verdant, and peaceful world. Get more information about the foundation at its website, macfound.org. We will give you enough notice for our next radio town hall meeting here. Please follow us on all our social media platforms at Official PRIMORG to get timely information about our activities. I am Adaobi Obiabumo. Stay safe.